I knew the interview was over the moment I opened my mouth. The tea stain had become a permanent feature of my life. It was a pale, jagged ring on the laminate kitchen table, a silent witness to 1,000 mornings of me rushing out the door to a job that, in the end, didn't want me. Tonight, my parents' apartment felt like a pressurized chamber. Every sound, the muffled bass of a neighbor's TV, the hiss of the radiator, felt like a direct accusation. I could hear my mother in the kitchen, the rhythmic clink of dishes being put away, and the heavy, slow footsteps of my father in the hallway. I'm 30 years old, and the air in this house feels used, recycled. Living here at this age makes every failure feel twice as loud. It's like being a guest in a life you were supposed to have outgrown. On the armchair lay my interview suit, wrinkled and discarded. It was a cheap polyester blend I'd bought, thinking it would make me look like a department manager, someone with authority. Instead, I looked like a man trying too hard to fit into a mold that was already breaking. The interview at Loomis Tech had been a sham. It took me 10 minutes to realize the position was already promised to the CEO's nephew. When they asked me where I saw myself in 5 years, something snapped. I didn't give the growth mindset speech. I just looked at the 3-man panel and said, I see myself in a room where the decisions aren't made before the candidate walks through the door. Thanks for the theatre though. The moment the words left my mouth, I felt the weight of them. It didn't feel like a victory. It felt like a massive mistake, a heavy cold stone dropping straight into my stomach. I'd burned a bridge I couldn't afford to lose. I thought about those bastards back at the firm, the spreadsheet zombies who suspended us. They sit in their glass offices, parasites who wouldn't know real work if it hit them in the face. And now, they had me backed into a corner. I grabbed my keys. I couldn't stay in that apartment 1 second longer. I needed to move. Sam had sent me a pinned location on Google Maps. No text, just the pin. I climbed into my old sedan and started driving. The city at 9 p.m. was a blur of neon and wet asphalt. I followed the blue line on my phone, but the GPS was acting up. I found myself weaving through a maze of industrial backstreets I hadn't visited in years. I circled the same 3 blocks, lost in the shadows of warehouses. My mind drifted back to the moment Sam and I made the call. It was a manual override. We stood over the monitor, seeing a small family-run bakery about to lose its entire credit line because of a bridge closure. We knew the corporate policy. We knew the risks. We hit the button anyway. We did the human thing. And for that, we were glitches in their perfect system. I heard the bakery is still open, their oven's still warm, but here I was spinning my wheels in the dark. My phone buzzed on the dashboard. Disciplinary hearing, Friday 9 a.m, attendance mandatory. Right then, a physical sensation hit me. A jagged, heavy stone lodged itself in my throat. I wondered just for a second, should I have done it differently? Could I have played their game for just one more day? I sat there in the dark, my hands white-knuckled on the wheel. My thoughts were backed up, refusing to go down my throat. I was 30, jobless and paralyzed by the sheer weight of what comes next. I kept driving, mostly on instinct, until I saw a gap in a chain-link fence. I pulled into a vast, gravel-strewn, empty lot. It was a rugged space, filled with the debris of a city that forgot to clean up. In the distance, the brick building bordering the lot made my heart do a slow, painful roll. North Side High, I whispered. I'd spent 4 years in that building as the scholarship kid, obsessively studying while the troublemakers hung out back here. 10 years later, I was the one standing in the gravel. I saw a glow near the far corner. There were people everywhere, guys on truck tailgates, teenagers skating, and Sam. He was standing over a massive pot steaming over a propane burner, handing raw sausages to kids. "Take these," Sam said to a kid. "Get them over the fire. You grill them, you eat 'em. I walked toward him. To take that last step, I felt like I had to break through an invisible pane of glass. But Sam didn't ask about the mess we were in. He just gave me a nod that said I was exactly where I was supposed to be. "Sam," I managed to croak, "this is the lot behind Northside. How did you even know this was here?" Sam didn't look up from the pot. "I've been coming here since I was 16, he said simply. "Used to come here to think when things got too loud at home. I didn't know you went to school here, man. Small world." As the chili simmered, the energy in the lot took a turn for the chaotic. Sam picked up a heavy metal ladle and pointed it at the guy with the skateboard like he was summoning a rock star. The group started a rhythmic clapping, but it was messy. Sam kicked it off with a rough freestyle about the corporate ghosts and the spreadsheet zombies who tried to steal your time. But then, the neighborhood guys joined in, and it turned into a beautiful disaster. One guy hit a soulful high note that cracked into a screech, and another started a rap so poorly rhymed it made everyone howl with laughter. It was ridiculous, off-key, and completely unpolished. Watching them be so shamelessly bad at it, and so happy anyway, was what did it. The sheer absurdity of the moment cracked the tension inside me. Then, Sam held the ladle out to me. The group went quiet, grinning. I took the ladle, my hands were shaking. As I began to speak, stumbling through clumsy lines about the rigged game and the tea-stained table, the stone in my throat finally began to slide. It moved, and my airway finally opened up. I started laughing mid-sentence, fueled by their terrible beatboxing. I looked up at the dark windows of the high school library. I wondered, is there someone still up there, grinding away under a desk lamp, looking down at me right now? Do they see just another ghost in the lot, or do they see someone actually alive? As the guys cheered and someone made a dying cat sound on an imaginary harmonica, I realized I wasn't just a suspended employee. I felt a sudden sharp clarity. I felt like I could be other things. The chili finally reached that perfect dark red consistency. As the steam billowed into the night air, the atmosphere in the lot shifted to a quiet communion. A few girls in oversized hoodies had drifted into the circle. One of them, a girl with bright eyes and a worn-out denim jacket, handed me a plastic bowl. We stood there, eating in the glow of the propane burner. The chili was spicy, hot, and honest. Gradually, the countless noises inside my head began to fade, and a steady silence and warmth took their place. "You're lucky you came tonight," the girl said, nodding toward the dark warehouse across the street. "After this, we're heading to the gallery. You've seen Julian's work, right?" "Julian is a force of nature," Sam added. "He can see the hidden bruises on your soul and paint them back into place." We walked to the warehouse. We filed into a narrow concrete corridor that felt like a tunnel through time. At the end, a girl handed me a pair of heavy, high-tech, wireless headphones. "Don't put them on until you cross the threshold," she whispered. I followed Sam to the heavy steel doors. As I pushed them open and stepped into the room, I slid the headphones over my ears. The world split open. Instantly, a melancholic piano began to weep in my ears. But my eyes were seeing something different. The room was packed, but it was dead silent. On the stage, Julian's massive canvases showed faces frozen in the peak of raw emotion. Between the paintings, several girls moved with a slow, haunting grace. It was a beautiful paradox, a symphony of redemption in my ears, a visual tragedy before my eyes. People were falling apart in total silence. I saw a man weeping, his shoulders shaking, but not a sound reached the air. Suddenly the music's rhythm surged.
A heavy stone that will not let me rest. I'm choking on the words I never said, but I've got some fire left in these broken bones. I'm more than a shadow, Take the name, take the cage. I'm turning over a blackened page. I see the others, I see the light. We're not going quietly into the stone is gone. I'm human again. Just a glitch in your
Sam and the others from the lot began to dance in that silent space. We were all connected by the same frequency, a silent disco of the soul. In that moment, I realized I was more than the glitch they wanted me to be. We ended up back at the lot, sitting on a couple of cinder blocks by the dying embers of the fire. The crowd had thinned out, leaving just me, Sam, and the smell of wood smoke. A new sensation took hold of me. For weeks I had felt cold and brittle, like I was made of glass, but now I could feel the blood circulating through my body. I felt the heat return to my toes and the pulse beating in my fingertips. I felt heavy, but in a good way, anchored to the earth. Sam stared into the orange embers. "Tomorrow at 9, he said quietly. "We're going in. Both of us. We'll hand over our badges and walk out together." I nodded. "Yeah. We did the right thing for that bakery, Sam. I'd do the same thing at the next job." Sam didn't look up immediately. He hesitated for a second, tracing a slow circle in the gravel with the toe of his boot, his voice dropping into a lower, more careful tone. "My cousin runs a custom metal shop about 6 miles from here. It's loud, it's dirty, and the pay is a step down. But they need guys who know logistics and don't mind getting their hands greasy. You interested?" I looked up at the dark windows of the library, then at the horizon. The deep, heavy black of the night was starting to fray at the edges, bleeding into a soft, silvery grey. The long shadow of the school was beginning to fade. "Yeah," I said, my voice finally clear. "I'm interested." We didn't move. We didn't get up to head to our cars or rush to get some sleep. We just sat there in the silence, shoulder to shoulder, watching the light grow. 2 glitches in a broken system, watching the sun climb over the city, waiting for the day to begin.